Talking about Del Boy Chisora and his up-and-coming challenge to Vitaly Klitschko. And Derek really has his work cut out, being that he's fighting away from home. If it goes the distance, he's never going to get a decision over there. No way. He knows that. But I'm not really thinking about him getting a points verdict. I just want to know what kind of challenge he's going to mount, really. That's what I want to know. Here are some of the intangibles, the pluses and minuses. Derek has pretty fast hands. If he's in shape, he has quite a good engine. He's also fearless. A lot of Vitaly and Vladimir's challenges haven't had enough desire or ambition or heart. Derek, he was out of shape against Tyson Fury, and he paid for it. It was still a close fight. He nearly knocked Tyson out a few times. I wish he'd get rid of that name, Tyson. I hate saying his name and having to mention Tyson. Fury. Yeah. Son of Johnny Fury, the former heavyweight, is what I should say. But anyway, Derek has fairly fast hands, like I said. He has a good engine, good cardiovascular. He's fearless. He also has a good rhythm. He throws good combinations. He has a sound technique. He's not an explosive puncher by any means. But I tend not to look at a lot of his fights that have went the distance, because Derek's one of them guys, he will fight as hard as you fight. If you're not going to push him, he'll just lay back and he'll just do the necessary to get the win and get out of there. He won't push it like a Tyson or a Ika Borshi or a Holyfield would to get the knockout. He's not that kind of mindset. However, this fight, he doesn't have that luxury. He'll have to fight like he wants a KO. There's no two ways about that. Vitaly doesn't punch as hard as he did before he made this latest comeback. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. He doesn't punch as hard. And that's due to the injuries he suffered before his last premature retirement. Vitaly's got this thing where he's able to mesmerize his opponents by pouring his jab out, not even pumping it out, but using it as a rangefinder and banging in the right. We see that regularly. And he's not blindingly fast or mobile. So how his opponents, his coaches haven't devised strategies where they're trying to get outside his left foot and make the dude miss, make him work, make him throw from angles he don't want to throw. Has just stopped being mesmerized and watching what he's going to do and then getting knocked out. Easier said than done, obviously. But you must be able to prepare drills in your training routine for when a guy's going to go, feint, pow, feint, pow, pow, all the time. Same rhythm. If you can't prepare for that, then something's wrong. Okay, I'll buy in if he's too strong for you and he overwhelms you. You can't do nothing. He's too strong. But by now, if no fighters have devised the strategy to come close to competing with him since Corey Sanders, years back now. How long? That's about 9 years back. You know? And Corey Sanders wasn't no master technician. He just was throwing a fast, straight right at him. He fought fearlessly, like he did against Vlad and crumbled him. And Derek, unfortunately, doesn't have Corey Sanders' power. But it has to be said, the recent title challenges for Vitaly have been so rudimentary in their approach. It's crazy. I mean, stop watching the feints so much. Punch through the target. Stop watching the feints. You know what I mean? Don't get mesmerized. But Vitaly's been able to just fall back on pushing the jab out like he did to Briggs. It was just jab, bang, right over the top. But I don't think it was so much Shannon was mesmerized. He just had his reflexes were shot. He had no hope of slipping them punches. And they should have really pulled him out after 6. And hopefully, Derek, as I said, Derek can bob and weave. He needs to be using that. He needs to be spinning off Vitaly's elbow and throwing shots. Make Vitaly turn. Make him do things he's not doing in fights. That's what you have to do. Make him have to turn and readjust himself. Stop giving him time to pour the jab out for 4 or 5 seconds, giving him way too much time to think. Way too much. Hopefully Derek can give a good account of himself. I don't see him getting nothing out of the fight. I see it going the distance. I don't see Vitali getting rid of Derek inside the distance. I don't see that. I just hope Derek can put up a performance and at least give us some semblance of a title fight, man. Simple. But 12-round win for Vitali, can't really see nothing less than that. And by the way, Corey Sanders didn't beat Vitali, he just gave a very good account of himself. And Vitali is a great champion. I'm watching ESPN most evenings now because we get it on satellite in Britain now. And it's been like a godsend for me, no joke. I get to see some classic old school fights and Friday night fights. So that's been a good thing. And I flash back to Junior Jones, and I remember watching him in the 90s, man. And I can't help thinking that this dude should have been a Hall of Famer. But his psychological makeup just imploded on him. Imploded. Junior's problem was he wanted to fight perfect fights. And that's just the wrong attitude, the wrong sport to do this in, is boxing. Like when he KO'd Barrera the first time, it was a perfect performance, literally. He barely got hit. He outclassed him the second time on points. And if you watch early videos of Junior Jones, you're going to see perfection, ring perfection. Then when he had a title defense against some guy named Johnson, a basic fighter, just come forward, throw the jab, nothing special at all, no exceptional power. Junior got knocked down. And, all right, cool, you get knocked down, so what? His whole attitude was, damn, you knocked me down, dude? And he couldn't get over himself. He gets an abrasion by his eye. It didn't seem like a bad injury to me. I didn't see no blood pouring, it was no swelling. He starts dabbing at the eye. Any rough exchanges or infringements, he's bawling out to Richard Steele. And that's just letting the opponent smell blood. And like I say, the guy couldn't cut off the ring. He just basically followed Junior in a straight line. He didn't feint to cut down the distance or nothing like that. And Johnson basically just fed off Junior's insecurities, and then he started to get bold, winging shots, and he knocked him out. And I mean, it's sad because after that, his career just capitulated. And his cornermen, they were coming out with some stupid shit like, oh, the great world champions, they don't let this happen. Well, that's not really technical advice for the current situation he's in. And bear in mind, Junior was probably still ahead on points before the KO came, you know? In contrast, when Zab Judah recently won the title against the African guy, and he KO'd him, and he had Pernell Whitaker in the corner, Zab got floored, and we all know Zab's temperament already. Zab was complaining that it wasn't a knockdown, and he went back to the corner complaining, highly strung. Pernell just calmed him down, said, look, forget that, it's gone. You know what I mean? To paraphrase, you scored a knockdown, you've lost them points. Let's focus on our strategy that we brought to the fight to win. And it worked. In boxing, you have to prepare for several scenarios of what could go wrong. You know what I mean? It's all about handling your damage limitation, knockdowns, cuts, anything, injuries. I'm going to stick my neck out and say Victor Ortiz is probably a little more explosive than Lamont Peterson as a fighter. The difference with Lamont, though, is he doesn't focus on what you can do. He focuses on what he can do. Victor don't adapt. Victor just crumbles to pieces as soon as it's not going his way. You know what I mean? Like against Madonna and against Money Mayweather. And I'm wondering about Berto. Has he learnt enough to try and use his opponent's strength against him rather than just relying on his brute force to walk through his opponent? You know, like setting up traps, like cutting the ring off by feinting rather than following your man in a straight line. Fundamental shit. We'll see. Should be a good fight, though. When Amir Khan won his light welter title against Kotelnik, I watched the fight, and even though Amir threw enough volume to win the fight, I noticed the method they employed was not to get impact on the punches, but just to throw the shoe shine combinations and move around. And I realized, I was looking at him and thinking, these may be good tactics for a static opponent, but I always thought that speed is a great asset for him. If he fights a fighter who plants his feet and uses lateral movement, not just plant and slug away, uses lateral movement side to side and throws solid shots, that he's either going to get into a disputed fight or he might get knocked out like he did against Prescott. And so it turned out against Peterson, who improvised beautifully after the first round. And Khan now, to me, just fights a amateur type of fight in the pros now. I think that's due to the shell shock of the Prescott defeat. But he's basically an amateur fighter without a vest because he has no inside game. He has no interest in learning an inside game. He hasn't even acknowledged it was a close fight. And that just tells me he doesn't want to acknowledge the weaknesses in his game. He just wants to blame it on betting fixes or the judges being crooked or hometown decision. So he's not, in his brain, he doesn't have to work on his boxing skills. And that's totally ridiculous. And if I was Peterson, I wouldn't give him the rematch due to the fact that he's trying to tarnish Peterson's reputation when he won fair and square. It was a tight fight. It was a close fight. It could have went either way, but he lost the fight. I mean, Peterson went forward and he threw the more meaningful punches. That's what you get. When you fight an amateur fight in the pros, that shit can happen to you. You know what I mean? And as a layperson looking at the situation, I don't have all the legal information at hand. But if the WBA and IBF cannot tie Peterson or any member of Peterson's camp into some judge-fixing scandal, if you can't tie them into it, or some betting scandal or something, you can't even order a rematch. That's got nothing to do with you. That wasn't in the contract of the original fight, an automatic rematch. And what's Khan thinking, really? That Peterson's going to look on him favorably to give him a chance to take back his title after you've dragged his name through the mud? I mean, he probably think I'm going to teach this pussy a lesson and I'm going to show him. I'm not going to give him no rematch because he's got no humbleness. I mean, Peterson, straight after the fight, said, I will give him a rematch. Has Khan even acknowledged that Peterson fought a great fight? I mean, Khan fought a great fight, withstanding his limited abilities of having no inside fight game. They both fought a really good fight, you know?